Spontaneous healing intra-systemic process, or SHIP, is a psychotherapy that developed over many decades. The main aim and function of SHIP is to create the optimum healing space for the integration of trauma. To understand SHIP, we need to understand trauma and the natural progression. When we enter life, we have a natural disposition to live our potential. So it's an internal drive that forces us in that direction. Obviously, we need an appropriate environment that can nurture, that create this space for us so that we can be comfortable and find ourselves and live that potential. Unfortunately, our developmental years are often plagued by neglect and subtle and severe trauma, which compromises our natural state, our natural disposition to live life to the full. So to understand how trauma works, we need to understand two areas. It's the exteroceptive arena and, of course, the interoceptive region. When we look at the information that enters our system, we can say that it's sensory information. We see information, we smell it, we taste it, we feel it on the skin, and of course we hear that. It's information gatherers of sensory information that goes to what we refer to as sensory neurons. From here, the information moves to the motor neurons, and those would include the autonomic nervous system, which will be all the soft areas, the heart and the blood vessels, and my respiratory area, my digestive systems, and so on, my glandular areas, and of course the somatic system, which will include the muscles and the fascia and the skin and the joints. So that information is supposed to normally move through very primitive processes in the brain. It's the brainstem arena, and from there it will need flow into different areas of my central nervous system. Unfortunately, what happens with trauma is that information is blocked, and it's like an irrigation system that is blocked. It cannot move through those particular areas. When that happens, our long-term effect of trauma will be a projection value onto the external world, which means I see my external world as it is, and then I add on that which I carry within myself. In other words, I see the external world and I add something on. So if I look at you and you look at me, and I'm asking you, so why are you angry with me? You can say to me, no, I'm not angry at you. And I can say to you, well, look, the way you're looking at me, you are angry. So I interpret the external world through my autobiographical information, adding it on. It's trauma if it's a chronic manifestation, a chronic dis-ease. It happens again and again and again in relationships. And of course, the other area will be in any of these softer areas in my system that we have a chronic dis-ease, or then, as we said, into the somatic arena of the muscles, the joints, the skin, and the fascia. When we have chronic dis-ease, it's an indication of developmental trauma. Of course, we have to add on that we need genetic susceptibilities that through the environment can stimulate. If we move through this trauma, if we create the healing space for this to do what it was supposed to have done initially, the projection value has now been nullified, and we just see the world as it is. We do not add on those things that we used to carry with us. In addition to that, internal diseases, chronic diseases, and they can often be very severe. Those chronic diseases will start dissipating because they are not fed by this dysregulated state. So my boundary externally will rectify itself as I go through spontaneous healing, and my internal boundary will rectify itself as I move through spontaneous healing. The result of that is, again, that my potential is available, it's open, it's free-flowing. In other words, there's a great comfortable flow internally, and that will then manifest in my life, and I will be able to contribute to life the way I am supposed to. I will be able to live the script that is my personal script. So the function of SHIP is to create that optimal space for that information to regulate by itself. When that happens, the internal state of flow is restored. A lot of wisdom is gained in the process, of course, and that person can live life to the full. There's a reciprocal process that happens when we integrate information. The projection on the external world changes because my perception of the external world changes. So the external world changes when I change. When we integrate internal information, there is not that activating medium necessary anymore from the external world to open up the old trauma. So chronic diseases, interpersonal and intrapersonal in the body, dissipate naturally when we move and integrate the trauma material. So it reverts itself then back to the state of flow. That's why I refer to it as spontaneous healing.